Picture this. You're walking through a video store. You're looking at the shelves. What do you see? The classic 30s and 40s horror movies. Dracula, Frankenstein, The Wolfman. Then you see some of the 80s stuff. Silent Night, Deadly Night, Halloween, Friday the 13th. And then you go back, a little back to the sci-fi section. You're looking, you see your Alien, you see Star Wars. Then hidden in the back off to the side, maybe not even face out so you can see the cover, you see this title. It's bold, simple. One word, Droid. And you say, what the fuck is that? You pick it up, you look around, not much, no big names on it. You see there's a record label credited for the soundtrack, so obviously there must be some kind of budget behind this. You look at the back. The pictures look like they were taken on a Polaroid. But still, it seems promising. You bring the tape up to the front, they take the box off, put the tape in a rental case, you take it home. Oh man, probably should have read the back of this box, because I can't tell what the fuck is going on in this movie. Droid is a 1986 shot-on-video science fiction action film directed by Peter Williams, which could very easily be a pseudonym. To fully understand Droid, a very hard task to do, you must first understand what Droid isn't, and that is sensical or coherent. But I mean, hey, it has to be good. Let's listen to what the box has to say about its own movie. What happens next is a roller coaster ride of special effects, award-winning cinematography, and an original motion picture soundtrack. Well, I think whoever gave this movie an award for its cinematography must have been blind and was just going based off of the director told them. Or some serious bribing had to be done. And while I was really excited to rip Droid a new asshole, even though it already has a few too many, I can't. Cause Droid has a pretty damn good excuse for its incompetency and it not making any sense whatsoever. See, a lot of these shot-on-video movies out of the 80s and 90s, well, the only thing you could really blame the low production values on is low production cost and incompetent filmmaking. But with Droid, well, it's a little bit more confusing than that. See, everything in the 80s came back to porn. And so does Droid. When I first heard about Droid, the only thing I knew about it was it's an X porn. How really can I describe that other than someone saw this movie in its full feature-length Caribbean Sin title and thought, you know what, this story is just so good, I think everyone should see it. So I'm gonna cut the only reason to watch this movie out of the movie and release it as its own movie. That'll do good, right? Wrong. Really, really wrong. Our film opens with our hero, Taylor, visiting some club that showcases people having sex on stage for some reason. One thing I will give this movie credit for is its production values are pretty high, especially for a porno. Like, in some random shot-on-video horror movie, you don't expect the production values to be high. But especially on a porno, really, they go all out with this, making the sets look bright and vibrant with a bunch of goofily dressed characters, and a bunch of really cheesy transitions, and even some futuristic-looking mocked-up cars. Well, it's not good, and it definitely does scream porno production values. I gotta say, credit is given for the effort that they put into it. And this musical number goes on forever. It feels like half of the movie is just made up of people going back and forth with trumpets and upright pianos and guitars and drums and all this stuff, and it just goes on and on and on. I would go point by point through the movie and tell you exactly what happens and all the plot points, but to be honest, I can't. This movie is so wacky. I've watched it 3 times, and every time I try and watch it, I still can't figure out what's going on. I have to resort to the back of the box to understand the actual plot of this movie, and even still, I'm pretty sure this is from a completely different movie. And I know, I'm the dumbass who's trying to figure out the plot to a porno movie. But the thing is, this isn't a porno movie. This doesn't have an excuse. Karabet Sin has its audience, and people who want to jack off probably love that movie. But Droid? Well, Droid's just a fluke. The movie wasn't good enough to take the only selling aspect out of it, and it definitely isn't good enough to hold its own as its own film, even a bad one. It's just completely mumbo-jumbo, fucked up mess that makes no sense, and it probably wouldn't make sense with any of the porn left in it, but at least that's a distraction. This is just as awkward and just as confusing as watching a porn, only without the porn. So really, what's the point? For those of you who still really want to see Droid, even just out of curiosity, don't. It's not worth seeking out. Though, you may get a kick out of it once or twice just for the crazy atmosphere it has, and for all of the really weird set design. You might even get a kick out of all of the neon signs, and low cheesy production value and bad acting, but it's still just a pornless porn. You can watch any porn and actually get porn out of it and still get all this great stuff, like the cheesy acting. Or watch a shot-on-video horror movie. Those have the exact same qualities, only you don't feel sleazy for watching them. This movie kind of seems like if you went to an authentic 42nd Street theater with all the gum on the floor, popcorn strewn everywhere, cum on the armrests, and saw a fucking kids movie. While I did completely trash the movie, that's not to say this movie doesn't have a few saving graces. As I said earlier, the production values are nice, especially for the type of movie that it is. And it is shot pretty well. I don't think award-worthy, but what are you gonna do? Anyway, maybe this movie is best forgotten.